Okay, let's go.
Welcome to another episode of Positivity. I'm very excited and honored to have here a good friend of mine, David Stanton. We know each other from LinkedIn. We met each other by a lot of shows. I think I still
Also at the
knew
gym.
you. Yes. And I think I still knew you from when you lived in London, right? You just recently moved
No,
a
no,
few
no,
years ago?
no.
Or I just assumed that I knew you from there because I knew you
No,
from LinkedIn. I
no.
never met you. How long do you live here?
I'm living in America for 8 years.
8 years. Okay, so I guess when I met you, I thought you're still living in London.
Yes.
But
Some people were
yeah.
hoping I still live in London.
Yeah, so that was why. They miss you?
Some miss and some.
So what I found about him is a few things impressive. First of all, I think he's very career driven, and from working in different positions to opening his own jewelry brand where he helps many people with jewelry, and having a huge following on LinkedIn, and just being altogether a positive person with great content, great inspiration. And I just bumped into a status today about a story that you said. You went out with your family, your kids, and your wife, and you made a big sale over there, like a big deal. And you were saying that don't think that your money is coming from you working hard in your office. It can come from anywhere. God is ultimately in control, and by you doing the right thing, that will trigger more of the right thing. So, and I said, you know what, that's a beautiful message. A lot of the conversation on my status recently was a lot about financials and family and data crisis. People are eager to hear from just the average human being that actually did something more. And I think that you're a staple of that. Taking your life, making it super fun and funky. You dress well. You're a
Oh, come
cool,
on, let me show
fun
it off.
guy.
Let's show it off. Come on,
Exactly,
baby.
exactly. You're a cool, fun guy. You have multiple nice suits like this. This is just one out
Praise
of
the
many.
Lord.
You're wearing a nice watch. You're fun. You're interesting, and a lot of people want to be that. And when they see someone like that, their question is, okay, David, how did you get to that? So help me in welcoming David. And David, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, just a quick background, not to bore everybody, but just people should know who they're going to listen to now.
Oof, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So let's start from the very beginning. I'm 29 years old, as of Gimel Kislev. And
Happy birthday.
praise the Lord. And needless to say, I was born and raised in, at that moment in time, relatively speaking, a small Jewish community in Manchester, England. Till about 16, I went to Israel, to yeshiva, and then from yeshiva, I met my wonderful lady, whom we married by the age of 20. And then we resided in Borough Park for a year and a half after the wedding. And then I moved to Lakewood, Ira Torah, Kodesh,
She was from Brooklyn, you said?
Borough Park. My
Borough
wife
Park.
is a Belzer lady.
Who was your shadchan? A Belzer lady.
The Ebishter.
Uh-huh. You're Litvish
I am
growing up? or
Yekish.
Swedish?
Yekish is official.
Oh, okay. So it's not Litvish. It's a mamish, a whole different style. What's the dress code? It's Stramel.
No. The dress code is inspired by the Victorian Georgian era of about the 1890s.
The Jews were wearing this
So
style?
we got to start from the beginning.
I
don't want
wearing?
to be controversial. I'm going to explain. I don't want to be controversial and bash the entire Hasidic Levush.
Okay.
But they didn't invent the Bekcha. The Bekcha was the Polish nobleman's look in the 1750s.
No way. They went with long jackets.
For sure. That was the Polish nobleman's look.
So
Nothing to do with
interesting.
Hasidim. Strimals were not originated from anything to do with... Nowadays, they happen to look very, very, flamboyant, very out there, very, very vibrant. But needless to say, in days of old, they were much smaller. They were much more closer to just a regular...
Yeah.
And a lot of the stories associated with this stuff, again, I'm not trying to bash, and you can crop this out.
Yeah.
They're inspiring. Why we wear Stram with this? I mean, it's not particularly, in my opinion, historically accurate.
It's not. The Bieber hat was after the war.
I remember hearing a story about how the Strymer was inspired because the anti-Semites used to make us wear some kind of tail on our head. It's just not true. A tail attached to the head is still a fashion design in Russia. I can show you right now. Hat, tail, and we can see it right here.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, you can go on Amazon right now and buy what looks to be a Strymer with a tail. You know, I hate to say it, I'm not trying to bash. Everyone has their stories, and we like to create some kind of, in Mitzrayim, we didn't change our levush because in Mitzrayim the way Bas Zokin.
So it's just a nice, you're saying a Strymer is just a nice, comfortable hat.
So the Strymer was in those days, it was an expensive, warm hat in cold European countries. And needless to say, in the 1700s, 1800s, it was worn by both men and women. And it was associated with more of the noble class. You know, this is
Russia,
still expensive today.
In Russia and Ukraine, everybody's wearing a
Right,
shtreimel.
right. So, you know, this it's just much smaller. Now, the shtreimel only in the last 25 years really kind of took that big, kind of like who could balance it better game. But, you know, who could spin it around and shove it in the box. That didn't happen in 1930, you know, there was no like this big round thing, guys like this swirl and, you know, it didn't work that. Don't touch the foot. It was a hat. They shoved it. Had a little pom-pom inside.
Yeah.
So La Masa, at the end of the day, the style, you know, you look at, for example, George Washington. You look at how the royal family in the United Kingdom still dress today. Weiße Socken, schwarze Socken is nothing to do with Yiddishkeit. It's nothing to do with looking different from the
You think of
Goyim.
a thumbnail already?
But the Positive Podcast has come to historical podcast about fashion, you know, and dispelling the myth.
Yeah.
But so the time period in really simple terms was, this was how the nobleman dressed and looked. And as the Bekecher evolved from the double-breasted suit, and it became what's called a short double breast, which is more correlated with the Satmalovish, and the prior to the double breast, you had what's called in about the 1890s when the Kapota took place,
Yeah,
the
right,
Chabadska look.
yeah. This
And
is
then
a Chabadska look.
This, in theory, is where the Chabadska look goes a little bit shorter than the Bekecher does.
3/4.
Right, it goes a bit shorter. It's a different material. It's not so shiny and flamboyant.
Correct.
And needless to say, and then came the Satmalovish, which was about 1930s, 1940s, double-breasted short jacket.
Yeah.
And then it evolved to how the Litvishers stereotypically dress, which is
Short.
the way of the modern world, the way the president dresses, the regular short suit, which has been around for, again, nowadays,
What
about,
did the
about 60,
Litvish
70
do
years.
back in the days?
No, that's what I'm saying. So in the same thing that Hasidim did back in the 1800s, they dressed as the nobleman, whatever that nobleman. The Hasidim, after, I don't know if it's after the war or whatever it was, seem to have kept to a certain style within their time period.
Correct.
And then created an entire identity around it, which is not correlated, in my opinion, with Yiddishkeit. And
No, they don't even. They don't
and
even
as what's
say
his name?
it as-
Swilly says, you know, I don't need your Bekecher. All I need is you, baby. So you know what I mean? With me, you get both.
Right. Beautiful.
So mine was inspired from around the 1890s. You know, nothing to do with Judaism or style, just to do with what I resonate with, what I like. And this waistcoat is not something you find every day because it's custom designed.
Oh wow.
I would say wear, but I'd have to be sponsored. So Fino, call me after Shabbos. But yeah. Praise the Lord. That's the story.
Fino does a good suit.
Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah?
Unbelievable.
Okay.
Very, very impressed. I was very happy with the experience.
Is it comfortable? Because that's why I don't wear a jacket. Because
No, it's just custom done.
to me a hoodie.
Tapered exactly to my
it's
body.
beautiful. Look at the inside, by the way.
Yeah, no.
Show that off. It's beautiful.
Very
Burgundy
nice.
is the
We've
color
got
of my
the-
wedding, actually. By the way,
The straight line
Everybody's-
pants.
yeah,
Over
everybody's
here, the
wearing-
pockets, double pleats,
the buttons.
high peak lapel.
It's beautiful.
You know,
and a
over
high
shoulder.
cuff. What's the high cuff for?
The 2-inch high cuff. This
2-inch cuff. Why?
2-inch cuff.
People are
over
doing
here.
no cuffs today.
No,
dude.
yeah. It was. That in theory is the Prince Charles look. You know, the Prince Charles. Now it's
It's a
not Prince,
higher
King
cuff?
Charles. Yeah, that's a little bit of a higher cuff. A bit more. It's a bit more meticulous when it comes to design and craftsmanship of Taylorism. And needless to say, it adds a little add to
You
detail.
see, I'm a hoodie, sweatpants, Crocs guy, all day, all night. I go to meetings like this. You think it's a lesser class or it's a style? I see like a lot
I
of
tend
celebrities
to-
do that.
I-
Adam Sandler dressed.
Yeah,
like that.
no. So I'll tell you, I'm not here to preach or tell anyone how to dress. Teach their own.
Okay.
I tend to always dress a bit more formal.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to find that the external brings out the internal. And the way one externally presents themselves is the way people perceive them.
Right.
If they don't know you and they perceive you based on any societal stereotype, then automatically you feel like that stereotype because that's how people treat you.
Right.
If somebody, for example, let's say somebody, you know, let me think of a good analogy. If a person is struggling financially, talk about financials, but they dress to kill, they really dress sharp. And that doesn't mean you have to buy nice clothes. It just means you have to maintain the clothes you have. Iron it, clean it, make it look sharp.
Yeah.
The difference between a crinkled shirt and a freshly crisp shirt, or the difference between shoes that are, you know, dirty and shoes that are polished, within a second of somebody seeing that, it commands a deeper form of civility and respect.
Right.
And based on how people treat you, is ultimately how you start to feel. So if you present yourself in a way that you'd want to be treated, people see you in that light, irrespective of whether you represent that of which you claim to be showcasing.
Yeah.
You end up feeling like the person, like, look, I don't like the word fake it until you make it. I think that's a bit disingenuous. I like the term face it until you ace it.
Right.
And when you face the idea that this is where I want to get in life, this is what I want to achieve, and you dress for that area. But then in Ellie's defense, I'd make the argument that if comfortability enables you the ability to communicate better and to articulate your words in a way that resonates more because you feel more relaxed and not so, that's why I didn't do my top button up or do a tie or anything, because I don't flow normally, And then in that scenario, I would argue, in that case, to each their own, by all means, wear pajamas with it on.
So you wear a tie? You like to wear a tie?
Yes, on Shabbos I wear a tie.
Okay, and the beard, is that something you had when you were 14? Or
Oh, I wish. I was.
When did you start leaving the beard?
No, the beard started when I could finally afford to keep it,
Why?
meaning say I was a slow developer. Everyone when I was 13, 14, oh, look how many armpit hairs I got.
Yeah.
And I'm nothing. And then all of a sudden, turned 18 and I had no beard, but like a full chest there. Full chest there, There's like, my face was like empty. In my chasna, like a few strands, like
Oh, wow.
whatever. But and then because I was so-called a slow developer, and I always saw myself through the lens of like a baby face and always perceived younger. And at 17, 18, you want to be looked and taken seriously. So in that scenario, it was like a big asaga, a big dream of mine was to grow a beard and look like a man.
Yeah.
And at first I was cleaning it very neatly, very nicely, and I had what's called trichomania, is the official, I believe, diagnosis, where I used to pull my beard a lot, right? And I'd play with it, driving, a lot of anxiety, and I never could grow it out. And I just thought it didn't grow, right? And then I realized that it happens to be the beard hairs over here don't actually grow so well. They grow short, the ones on the chin.
Okay.
And I was shaving all the way up, hoping this will grow, and then I'll make it, slowly bring it down. And then I thought, one sphere, I realized, wait, this is growing, underneath. And I started fluffing it out. And then before you know it, we turned it into something magical.
It is. Even your mustache is magical.
I am a big advocate for the beard. At the end, think about it like this. We're coming up to Kratzmach. I don't know what we can talk about, but whatever.
You would say whatever you want.
So, we're coming up to Christmas, and needless to say, think about this for a minute. Santa Claus. If Santa Claus was 25 years old, clean shaved and skinny, would you let your kid sit on his lap in the... I know this is not your audience. For the random Gentile.
Right.
No, you wouldn't. Santa has to be looking like a
man.
Like Elizabeth Nazario. He has to have a white beard. He has to, command a certain sense of holiness. And and with that big belly and the nice furry clothes and the nice white beard, and the older age, you feel comfortable with your child sitting in the middle of a mall in the guy's lap, So you put Santa clean shaven, no one is lining up for photos.
Right.
It's part of the vibe. It's part of the vibe.
I was going to ask David, how does one build up 65,000 followers on LinkedIn? But I don't, and now I see it. You're loaded with personality. You're genuine, you're funny, you're interesting. And I can imagine that your posts reflected that very much and people just wanted to follow you.
Yeah. I had a competitive advantage at that moment in time.
Okay.
That when I joined LinkedIn in 2019, content was very corporate, right? Video had just kind of a year or so earlier been launched the platform.
Right.
And I just went on there and everyone was talking about their business and what it is they do, and we just closed another deal and whatever. And I had the philosophy that people actually don't care. People really don't care. People are looking, on one hand, to be entertained, and on the other hand, to be inspired.
100%.
That's what I found. Entertainment and inspiration take people a long way. Both take people out of the ordinary and take them away from, the idea of who they are and show them who they ought to be, And it's that form that really resonates. And in that scenario, I came on there and just started just doing my thing, baby, just doing the madness, shouting at the camera.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people resonated and people started following. We had haters, but the haters are good. But then now I've kind of, after I got banned,
Oh,
why
did you get
So I used to
banned?
have 75,000 followers.
Okay.
And I grew that in about 2 years. And then I was posting a lot of political related content.
About
Because I was so, no, not about Israel. That's only political related when it comes to Satmar.
Yeah, right.
Outside of Satmar, it's just like another country.
Correct. Yeah,
Sorry, sorry to all the
Yeah.
the Tide bombs out there.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say was this: is so because I was sharing so much raw thoughts, politics at that moment in time, 2020, Trump, and all this stuff, it was wild. It was absolutely wild. Political correctness, the whole 9 yards, wokeism, and I just felt like I could say stuff like I was saying stuff like Andrew Tate would say, which were like a Dova Posha, hey, you're a man. And like, long before it was like, whoa, let's go viral, you know. So at the end of the day, maybe he followed my content. But what I will say is this: is that I think I did a poll about Jeffrey Epstein, just asking people their thoughts on, you know, died, suicide, whatever. And I wouldn't label myself a conspiracy theorist. I like the term truth seeker, but I'm fascinated with conspiracy. Like I'm absolutely fascinated. And this was a very fascinating story at the time, because this is when the trials were allegedly taking place. I made a poll, and that was it. They gave me a ban.
Oh, wow.
And they're very, very clever how they ban people, because they don't ban the account. You can try and make a new account, and they'll ban it in minutes.
Okay.
They ban you. And the way they do that is they track IP address, they track any similar photos, names, scrolling time, how long you scroll, how you engage, how you type. All analytics, like when we have reject cookies, accept cookies, all analytics are measured. And I made like 4 new accounts. And then boom, every single one within 24 hours they took down. And then I figured out the trick. Sorry, LinkedIn, I figured out the trick.
Okay.
This is separate to getting my old account back, right? And the trick is that you obviously use a different name under a different IP address. So you go to someone else's computer. Let's say I would come to your computer. I'd create an account, Menachem Bumblefeld. And with this account, I'll have a different profile picture, different name, different email address associated. And I'll run it strictly from that enterprise. And there's no way of them detecting that's you. Right? And then I'll change the way I engage and the way I scroll and the way I write and anything that could correlate back to my thingy. And I did that. So I only used LinkedIn for my office, which I never logged in from the office account where I worked at the time.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's illegal to catfish, but I was a pilot.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of my account, but I was a pilot. A great one.
Yeah.
And I used that for around 3 months. Then I changed it back and added my middle initial, which was David C. Stanton, and incorporated that, updated the profile picture, and kept a different email address. And it worked for about a year. But in the meantime, I was very adamant to get my old account back. Okay. Because I had an audience, you know? And then thank God, a wonderful gentleman, I believe it was a man, I'd love to give credit, so I believe it was Shlomi Levinger, if that's his name.
Yeah, rings a bell.
He's, I think he does some form of cybersecurity or something like that. If that is the case, amazing. If I just gave an announcement to someone else, it's fantastic. That's locker ever. Hope brings you a lot of business. And he advised me to reach out to a gentleman who worked at LinkedIn, which was named Mordy Golding. And with that, we managed to get the account expedited to the higher ups, and they gave me a second chance. And so since then, about, when was this, 2020, I got it back in what, 2023, beginning of 2023. Then I just calmed down, like that was it. Like, and my content really was, I couldn't put out the kind of stuff. You live with anxiety that one content could just take away everything you've worked so hard building. Wow. You know, so in a certain sense, my content changed a lot since then, and now I just talk about a little bit of life, business.
Was it devastating when they removed you from the platform?
It did bring on some form of momentary anxiety, because you know it's like anything. It's you work hard to build something, and then within a second, it's not just that you can't access your account; it's no one can even see what you posted. Correct. So they take it off the internet entirely. That means any conversation someone had with you in their messenger is going to say LinkedIn user, and it's going to be like blank. As in, so all the context that I'd built in business, all the connections, all the conversations, all the content that I'd ever posted, I couldn't extract that data. Right. There was no way of accessing with Twitter, or X, as they call it. If you get banned from X, and I have been banned from X, even with Elon Musk. Okay. I don't know how, they probably thought I was spamming people. Yeah. But with them, when they ban your account, you can still access your account. So you can actually see what you posted, you can, you know, and you can make a new account and get around that. They're just kind of...
Why did they block you?
I don't know. I have a feeling that I made a piece of content that I was engaging with. It was correlated with a topic of the day, and my content was exactly correlated. I was dropping it in the comment section of people. This is my best guess because they didn't tell me. And then they look at that as like a bot account, spam. In order to gain further reach, you'll, shoving your content in other people's feeds. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'd say
What is the art of content or LinkedIn, social media, in your opinion?
My opinion is trying to be as real as you possibly can. Although people might not be able to decipher what it is that they feel resonates or not, you take a child, 5-year-old, test this. Go to a keyboard. Or go on YouTube, find a video of somebody playing piano excellently, right? Turn the sound off and let that kid watch what's going on. Ask the person. It doesn't have to be a kid, anyone. Good player or bad player, they'll have no clue, no sound. Put sound on, and a 4-year-old can tell you that's beautiful and that's crap.
Yeah.
They don't have to know music, they have to know a piano, they don't have to know how to play a piano. They could tell you that sounds more pleasant to theirs than it looks the same. 2 videos of a guy playing a really fast tone, which is brilliant, like a Mozart, Beethoven, like next level, whatever it is, versus a guy who's just banging around on a keyboard, doesn't have a clue how to play. From a visual lens, if you turn off the sound and record, it looks the same. The difference is how it actually is perceived. So when someone makes content and they come across in a way that genuinely is as real as they could be, there was a stage where I did believe in vulnerability a lot. Today I'm a little bit against that. I tend to think not everyone has to know everything about your life. There's certain areas that one can keep private. You don't have to be... Authentic means in the areas that you share genuine.
Wow.
But you don't have to share everything. That was I wouldn't say mistake, but that was something I had a hard time. When I started my business, I thought maybe I'll vlog my entire business. My first sale, my second sale.
Yeah.
And there was no one. No one's business.
Right.
That's it. So you share, you learn something, you gain something, you can share it. You don't have to share everything,
Right. Did you also...
That's it, teach the road.
Did you also... Yeah, do you think you can also make good business from LinkedIn and social media, or it's more about the branding and people know you, people trust you?
I track data analytics extremely well in my company. That means every single person that's bought from me, I know specifically how they got to me as a point of contact.
Oh, wow.
And 36% of my business is generated through LinkedIn today.
No way.
Yeah. I just posted about this yesterday, 2 days ago. 36%. And of the other, there's 27% of my clients they're labeled on the category of friend. That means to say that in theory, if you were to buy that, you'll be a friend.
Yeah.
But that friend came from LinkedIn. Do you know what I mean? So I'd say maybe even 50% of my business would be credited solely from the content upon LinkedIn, and not necessarily the content upon now. The content I actually put out years beforehand. And this is something that's, I literally made a post about this concept, which is fascinating. Right. I was a staunch believer back in the day. People were very meticulous to connect only with their target market.
Correct.
So I do commercial real estate financing. So I only wanted to connect with landlords and anyone in real estate. And I believe that was a massive mistake for 2 reasons. Number one, referrals. Anyone outside of your community can refer you. They know of you. Hey, I never needed shoes, but I know the guy who does shoes.
Yeah, I saw your post on this.
So that's number one. Number two is the secondary point I would say is that you never know what line of work you may be in next. And although people are very like, this is what I do, you never know what you might need from somebody else. And having a broad, diverse community
100%.
is fantastic. And that's...
But do you think that users are still using it? Because a lot of people have managers. A lot of people just stop checking in on LinkedIn. That's what I feel. When I was in the beginning, when I started LinkedIn 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago, it was very, very engaging. People were all over me. Like every time I made a post... Now I feel like it's a little bit less. There's still people there, but it's a little bit less.
So this is with everyone. I've realized the reach is a lot harder these days.
Yeah, I don't think the reach is harder. My reach is pretty good actually, but I think the engagement, it was more exciting a few years ago.
Yeah, no, but but there was days where...
How do you feel about it when you make a post now?
Nowadays, nowadays I'm not anti... I'm so not focused on metrics. I used to care a lot about likes, engagement, and all that stuff. I'm focused on business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for me, if it brings business, I don't know. There is. I'm in a conflict of emotion. It's a machlokas between poskim. How one navigates, because on one hand, one should focus on trying to get their content to get as much engagement as possible. The more engagement they get, the more known they get. That's like a fantastic metric, right. For business. If you were to ask somebody with 100 million followers to post about your coffee cup company, it's inevitable, but that you're going to make sales.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, because the vanity can really get to your head, and if you don't get the engagement you used to get, or want to get, it really bashes you apart and it uninspires you. And for me,
Right.
I would say consistency is king. People see you, people recognize you, people know you in general. And for me, it's just put content, get it out there. Get it out there and don't think too much about it. And just get on with the day.
Right.
And if you mess up, you say something stupid, you can take it down. You can always, or you can always make an apology video. I'm sorry, I didn't know it's going to trigger so many people about the Strimals.
Yeah.
There'll be an apology video about me when I get the Sam Rebel calling me. No.
Yeah. If that happened. You also went through a many different jobs, I think, until you started your own business. And I remember the day you started your own business, and I was like, finally, David's doing something on his own.
Yeah.
So tell us as much as you want to share, like, what did you do in the past? Why did you start the business? How was it starting a business?
Oof. Business has been the most challenging but yet rewarding journeys of my life.
Really? More than a relationship and kids?
No, nothing.
Okay.
But I do have a relationship with my business. We just haven't had kids together. What was I going to say? When I came to America, I've always been by nature very, very, very ambitious and optimistic, hyper ambitious to the next level. You know what I mean? So when I came to the United States, I was convinced in my first year, I'm a millionaire. Like that. I was a millionaire convinced. So the first thing I did is we got married, and every day I traveled to Manhattan for a month. I went to Wall Street, went to Fifth Avenue. I walked into Cartier. I walked into Harry Winston. All that, because I had some experience in jewelry, from when I was 15, right? I worked with my brother, who's a very, very big, prominent, his name is Donny Stanton, who was a big, prominent diamond dealer and manufacturer within the United Kingdom. And I had some experience, I'm 20, I walk into Cartier and they look at me like a real retard, It doesn't work this way, pal. It's not a movie, like just walk in, let me get a job. Whatever, but I was very driven. And then after a bit of time, I had a wonderful conversation with a very, very kind gentleman who, I'll give him the credit, the owner of Tasters Market, Moshe Leitner, in Staten Island, who asked me, how much money you make today? And I remember this clearly. I said, I didn't. I'm looking for a good paying job,
Yeah.
He said, well, if you would have made $100, you could be $100 richer. Start doing something and then just leave and climb. Don't be scared, but get grinding. Stop chasing, stop looking, start working, right? So I decided, whatever the first opportunity is that's going to take me, let's do it. And I landed a position for a wonderful company called Epic Culinary Distribution at the time. I worked for two amazing people, Shlomi Teitelbaum and JJ Sudowitz, who, I did sales as a seafood and sushi wholesaler.
Yeah.
And this was a fantastic, fantastic experience for me. It was a year and a half. I had no car because I couldn't get a license because I had my green card. I hadn't got a green card yet and waiting for the red card. And it was a complex. So I ended up doing sales to I was selling seafood. I was a seafood and sushi wholesaler, walking around trying to sell to all the local bar park in Flatbush and Williamsburg. And I'm taking buses and transportation and on my feet in the winter. And it was very intense. And the food industry, for those who in the food industry know, this is the most stressful industry in the world.
Yep.
There's nothing like it. It's ruthless, really ruthless. To get paid from people is ruthless. I did more debt collection than I did sales,
Yeah.
And that was that. Did that for a year and a half. Then when I moved to Lakewood, left there, joined a donors advice fund called the Donors Fund here in Lakewood. Did that for some time. And then joined a company back in New York where I did mostly remote, but I did come in every Mondays or so, where we did for Soho Platters, where we were, corporate platters for events and so on and so forth. Fantastic company as well. I just want to say, everyone I work for, even if you fired me, I had an amazing experience, and I would recommend people work for you. But
and by the way, and LinkedIn was a help for you as you changed things, and you would say, "Hey, congratulations! I started here and here, so now I'm selling
LinkedIn
platters."
was no. So I actually, my last 3 jobs, I sourced from LinkedIn, and not from resumes, and not. I did so much content, and people knew me so well. I probably even have a list till today of the companies that reached out to me. Right, I'm not going to read them, but I can just show you how many. Right, I should have a list. Everything in my notes is saved forever.
That's right.
Let me see, down here. Let's see, how many years ago? We need to go back to 2023.
Why did they want to give you a job? Because of your following?
Because I'm a master of the craft. A master. I'm one of the best salesmen out there. Okay, look at this. So this was back in January 26, 2023. This is before my last company. These are the amount of companies that reached out to me before I decided.
And
So
why
we
did you
got,
make a list?
I got in about a week, I got 72 because I had to call them, I had to see what they're offering.
Ah, you
I
posted
don't
that you
yet. I'm
might be
telling
looking
people
for a
I'm
job?
open. I don't say I'm looking for a job. I'm open to make your business extremely successful.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And I'm available for new
David,
process routine, and that's
I
that.
want to like interject. I don't want to say interrupt. It's a strong word. I want to just come in and say that I think it's amazing the self-confidence that you have, but also the willingness to make things work, the belief that you have in yourself is one of a kind. And that's something that I preach very, very much on my WhatsApp status. I tell people when they tell me that they're struggling with this and that, I always tell them, I understand. I hear you, I feel you. And I've been that place. I've been that place with no job, struggling, working hard hours and
Yeah.
making no money. But at the same time, it all begins with what you believe in. The way you said that it would be an honor for them to have me work for them,
Right.
that's different than 99% of people. Most
So
people are like, I
most
just need
people-
a job. I'm
Right,
just
that's
trying to
it.
get through.
So
The confidence is so low.
I'm gonna give the best.
So I love what you're saying.
I'm gonna give the best advice ever. Okay, I mean this, and I've done this with it. I've done this. You turn around in an interview, and most people are coming there, and the interviewer is asking you the questions. What do you do? What's your experience, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
The reality is it's a two-way conversation, but if you have some level of prestige, it's actually a one-way conversation. You're interviewing the company, seeing what they have to offer you.
100%.
Because you're signing a non-compete, you're signing a contract with them, you're only going to work for them. In essence, you could just be a 1099 and do whatever they need, and you do whatever you want with other people.
100%.
So if I'm going to be signed and locked in specifically your company, what is your company offering? How many people have you trained? How many of them were successful? How many left? How many tried? Get some information. See how well they can handle a little bit of.
I love what you just said. I
then-
want to just go back a second. You said you basically, when you go for a job interview, you're interviewing the company,
As well.
not allowing the company to interview you. They can ask you a few questions, but majority of the interview should be
You-
you're asking questions. Like a shidduch date. When you go out on a
100%.
date, Rabbi Manas Friedman says this. You ask the girl questions. Can this girl be good for me? It's
Right,
not
right,
like I'm
so-
allowing them to. Yeah. go
So
ahead.
in this scenario, you know, it's at best it's a two-way conversation. If you have a level of people actually after you and you've got options, then you really want to figure out what's the best for your future growth.
Correct.
Right? And then you have the leverage, you have the upper hand. They need you more than you need them because you've got hundreds of options. They don't have hundreds of options for a quality
Or at least in
salesman.
your
But whatever.
in your mind, you should
Right,
think that.
100%. So in this scenario, at the end of the day, whenever you go to an interview, there's one thing I wholeheartedly believe every single company, every CEO, every founder, every interviewer wants to see. And that is confidence that they're going to get a return on their investment.
Wow.
If you lack confidence and you project it. So for example, if somebody asks me, without being a liar, can you fly a plane? My answer is yes. Do I know how to know? But I can if I learn. But the answer is yes, because why can't I? He could fly a plane. I could learn how to fly a plane.
Wow.
So you got to be open. In every company, no one wants somebody that's coming with all the experience they need to solve a problem. They want you to have knowledge, wisdom, and intuition, and the confidence that you can solve problems that could arise in the future that you never had experience doing.
Right.
That is the ideal person to hire, is they could solve problems that they've never even, they'll figure it out. They've got
Right.
intuition. They use their gut initiative. And in this scenario, I genuinely believe if you turn around and you say this with direct focal point in a respectful manner, I will be, you can incorporate whatever swear words into your brain just to make it feel more impactful. But I will be the best business decision you'll ever make in your entire life. And when they hear that, it's like, oh yeah, come on, let's go. Yeah, you know?
Correct. Yeah.
It sounds like a movie, sounds like a fairy tale. It doesn't matter. They see confidence, and confidence in every single area, whether he's stacking shelves in Evergreen or whether he's working for one of the biggest companies on Wall Street. They want to see one thing, that I'm going to hire you and you're going to have confidence enough to figure out that of which needs to be done. And that's what I believe. And
100%.
I would say that's one of the things I have naturally by nature, is because, and this
Oh,
is
that's
one of
what
the
I want to
reasons-
know. Where did you get this
So, I'll
confidence, and
tell
what
you,
can
so
somebody do to get confidence?
The easiest trick I would say is start solving minor problems around your house.
Oh, wow.
Any issue you can find. If, for example, you're a messy person, clean up your desk, clean up something on the floor. Before you know it, you see, you know what, I can achieve that of which I thought I couldn't. Whatever it might be. You never ironed a shirt, iron a shirt. Do new stuff every single day. Try and incorporate and try and work on the idea that every day you want to have one item where you don't procrastinate. So for example, someone tells you take out the trash, go do it. One, and then write it down. That one's done. Everything else procrastinate. Everything else keep messy. But if you keep solving minor problems within your life, minor issues, you end up gaining a lot more confidence that, you know what, I could solve bigger problems. And those problems that were minor end up as compound interest works, you end up being able to have the intuition and the confidence to solve bigger problems, and with that, you just generally become a more confident person. Like, yeah, hire me for X, and I'll figure it out. What's the rock
Wow,
sense?
I love that.
Same thing in business.
David, that's so beautiful, and I'll phrase it this way, because I so much agree to what you just said, is that confidence comes from making promises to yourself and doing it.
100%.
Actually doing, when you're a person that has something to show for yourself, like he said, it could be the smallest thing as cleaning your room. That's where you gain confidence. You make a promise to yourself, you keep it, or you just do something for yourself. That's when you gain confidence. When you tell yourself, I'm going to take a walk every day of 20 minutes in nature, and you do it, you're going to gain confidence. If you tell yourself, I'm going to go 10 minutes to the gym a day, and you do it, you're going to gain confidence. What did
100%.
you do? Which specific thing did you do that you think helped you get confidence?
More confidence. My confidence, I would say, it's not really something I did internally. If I was to credit to a single attribute, I'd say it's the fact that I actually don't really care what people think about me. Now, that's something I can't teach, and I can't figure out a good way for people to emulate that.
That's just a nature, in a sense.
It's something, no, I worked on. I've come to the realization life is very, very short. And by short, I mean it's unpredictable. We don't know what the future holds. And if you just look at it, you know, the amount of things the ordinary person stresses about is coming from this idea that we are invincible and we're going to live, and we're immortal, we're going to live forever, and everything has to work out. How are we going to do it? For argument's sake, we don't know what tomorrow will bring. We don't know what today will bring. And you've got to live in the moment. And at the end of the day, I couldn't give two tosses what the common man thinks. I could take advice, I could take insight, and I could take criticism.
Yeah.
I can handle it because I don't mind what he thinks. But I don't need to dwell in the sense that I feel like brought down, and then I have to, you know, be scared to raise my voice and say a thought. You have something to say it. You look like a schmuck, that's fine. So next time, as a guy explained to me when I was about 17, a friend of mine actually explained to me when I was 17, everyone is right and then they're more right. You know, no one's, if you're being genuine and you're saying what you truly believe to be true, and you're not trying to be a liar and you're not trying to deceive, this is who you are.
Right.
People appreciate in life, I've come to the realization, two things. Number one, if you speak truth, it tends to come out more confidently. You know, I once asked my father's an excellent, Rabbi Jeremy Stanton is an excellent public speaker, my father. Big Poisek in the UK. And we were at a funeral. Close friend's mother passed away. And we're at the funeral and there wasn't a rabbi there to do a sermon, to do something. My father took initiative and ran it. And I said, Daddy, how do you have the confidence just to get up sporadically in the spirit of the moment and just speak and speak beautifully? And he said, speak the truth. You speak the truth, you don't stutter, you're speaking the truth. And to me, I've realized, you know, if you're a genuine person, if you're a nice person, and that's something you have to work on. If you work on being genuine, work on being nice, work on having good midas, work on presenting yourself well to the world, you know, being open and having good energy and letting people gravitate towards you. But in that scenario, I would make the strong argument that confidence tends to follow truthful, transparent, honest people. They don't mind so much what people have to say about them because they're confident in themselves. And at the same time, what was the point I wanted to bring out? Here comes my ADHD. The point I wanted to bring out is that, can't remember. It'll come back to me.
I want to get to how you got to your business. Which one did you open it?
So for years, so then I going back to where we were, so corporate food platters, then I worked for Eastern Union Commercial Real Estate Financing for a year, then consumer electronics for 2 years, and then Fellowship Warehousing Logistics, which was 3PL, third-party logistics. And
what's third-party logistics?
3PL is warehousing space, and so on and so forth. I was about to buy a house at that moment in time. And it really hit me. It really hit me that if I buy a house based on the house I was after, and the money I was generating being employed, the money I'd save up would be tied up in the house.
Correct, as a down payment.
Right, that's gone. And at the same time, the money I was earning would be going. I was getting quoted because I was paid on a 1099 and have very good accountants.
Yeah.
I hope the IRS isn't. But because I have very good accountants, you know, my income after all taxes is, after all expenses is, you know, hard to get a regular loan.
Yeah.
So the non-conventional loans I was being quoted around 2.5 years ago at the time, maybe 3 years ago, was literally around, I don't know, 9%, which was very high. And the monthly mortgage, based on what we're looking at, was about $8,000, right? Which was affordable at that moment in time specifically. But I realized that if I ever want to start a business, which I always did, just didn't know where to start. But what happened is that it would be prolonged until either sales really goes to the next level, but then I have to really stick out in the company I was at, which I wasn't good at. I was keep jumping between companies, climbing higher and higher and higher. And in that scenario, I realized that by acquiring a house, I'll be prolonging the dream of starting my own business. And then, in hindsight, I realized working for a company, I'm prolonging the dream of starting my own business. So it came to a pivotal moment where I had to make a decision. Do I buy a house and keep working? Or do I leave the company and not buy a house and use the money to start a business?
Wow.
And this was like the turning point. And I'll be honest with you, I had zero clue what to do. But I'm a big believer in a simple philosophy. Option B is a sabotage to option A. Meaning to say, if you want something to succeed, truly succeed, you have to be all in with no other exit plans.
Yep.
Because then you will be determined to figure out. The second you have exit plans, you'll give up too early.
Okay.
You won't weather the stamina of the challenges of navigating and growing a business. Hold on,
Right.
And where was I saying? So in this scenario, I can't remember where I was going with that.
So you're saying that
So-
you basically get rid of plan A.
Right. So I decided I'm going to leave my company and I'm going to make a deadline, because a goal without a deadline is nothing.
Okay.
1 month, I've got to establish a business. Now, it happens to be that because capital as only I was being paid on a 1099, so I'd already established a business name named Stanton Kingdom long before Stanton Kingdom custom crafted natural lab-grown diamond jewelry for life's most meaningful moments.
Wow. But subconsciously.
So I already had the name and already had the business bank account.
I started the Weber Media in 2019, even though the business started in 2023, I
Right.
think.
So I'm a massive believer.
Subconsciously, yeah.
People ask me all the time, how do I start a business? And I say, like, most people think that the setting up the business account is, and all that stuff, the name, the domain is 1% of the business and 99% is what you do. And I've realized it's absolute shake. 99% of a business is literally just setting up the
Sales.
legalities and the stuff like this. Once you've built the outside vessel, you just got to think through the lens, okay, what can I do to make money?
What am I selling?
That's it. But you have everything set up. So I had a credit card processing set up before I had a business.
Wow, yeah.
I started building the vessel without a clue what to fill it with. But once I built, then the only thing is, okay, what do I want to do? Right? And in that stage, I had some experience years earlier in jewelry. I happen to absolutely love people. I love people. And custom jewelry really gives me the ability to understand somebody, their journey, their milestone, their stories. I love that. I get to meet new people every single day. And needless to say, I love design. I love art. I'm a fantastic designer. I'm a very good artist. So getting to be able to design something, meet people, get to understand people, relate to their stories and hear what resonates so we can customize something truly sentimental and deeply personal, in this scenario was amazing, because everything else that I was selling throughout the years was like one time. So you refinance someone's building and then the next 3 you're competing with another broker. And I wanted to do something where I sell something and that's going to be enjoyed, for God willing, generations to come.
Yep.
Warehousing space is 1 square foot, how many dollars, how long is there? As long as they're happy to use you, the second they're not, someone's beating price, yeah.
Correct.
Jewelry, I make it. And I genuinely believe the kind of pieces I'm making are saving lives. These are amazing.
So you design them and
Design,
then somebody makes
manufacture.
them. Wow.
Yeah.
And you're working alone. You have a team now. You have.
So I
outsource.
have a team in New York, right? That does the manufacturing for us, and design. When it comes to CAD work, that I'm outsourcing. I can't do CAD design, but physical design on paper or flat rendering and anything like that.
That you do.
Master.
Wow.
I don't mean, and I'm being humble when I say this. I am the #1 jewelry designer in the United States of America, if not the world. And when I say I'm being humble, if I wasn't being humble, I'd say in the entire history of humanity. So this is my humbleness.
And how did you do your first sale? Who was your first
sale? My first sale was a fantastic sale, and one of the most important. I was told when I started business, make a fool of yourself the first 20. Don't worry, and then you get past it. My first sale was one of the most unbelievable experiences I ever had, because it taught me an enormous amount about what I do.
Okay.
So I had a wonderful gentleman, who wanted to replicate a piece of jewelry. And this was his lady had this jewelry in costume. It was cheap, and she loved it. And he thought, as a romantic husband would, I'll do it in natural diamonds and gold and so on and so forth, you know. And we took the piece and we modeled it and we made a one-on-one replication, which was the worst thing ever. The worst thing ever. Like, I didn't know this. I didn't understand this because when you're seeing something, people think, well, gold and diamonds is going to look so much better than the thing else. It doesn't look better. It's just worth more. But you're looking at the two, and one costs you $5 and the other costs you $50,000, and you're like, wait a minute, what exactly did I even? So for me, I'm like a big fan. If we replicate, we make something different to the design, where it at least feels like a new piece. You know. So I'm not a fan unless somebody obviously has like a pair of earrings, which were their great grandmother's, which were lost. One of them. We're replicating the other, then for sure that's a one-on-one.
Trying to go exactly.
You know, or you know, but in general, just in these scenarios, that was something I realized is that people, at the end of the day, you have to make something new. There has to be some modification which kind of justifies why we've replicated it.
Right. So you're not just selling jewelry; you're making custom pieces. You're designing it yourself, and you're working with the actual. You're probably working with what, like one customer per day or one customer per week?
No, working with many customers per day.
Do you sell if average if somebody just needs a watch or a ring or?
So watches is not something I specialize in.
Okay, but any kind of jewelry, earrings, bracelet, necklace.
Any kind of piece of fine or high jewelry.
Do you have like in stock?
So I don't. I actually.
Or you make everything.
In theory, I have in stock, but it's not what I would let the clients know. I want to target niched. When I first started off,
the people that want custom.
When I first started in business, I had a lot of inventory, but then I realized I'm competing against retail storefronts, and I didn't have brick and mortar. And I realized the kind of people that come to brick and mortar, there's a percentage of them that are just there to window shop, take photos, and show someone else.
Yeah.
So I realized, well, you know, if you got to know your market. You got to know where you have a strong forte, where you have leverage.
Yeah.
And what I have leverage is I'm an excellent designer, an excellent communicator. And because I don't carry inventory, I'm excited to work on a custom project.
Right.
The second I have inventory, I want to move the money that I have tied up. And I'm less likely to want to customize and design. So because you want to, you know, I've got this already. I have it in inventory. Like, hey.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. I want someone to come, whether after natural diamonds, lab-grown diamonds, whatever it is, I want the ability to have creative freedom. And to me, I realized that I'm amazing at custom projects, unbelievable, and also can work at much better prices because I don't have the physical inventory overhead. So whenever jeweler sends one piece, they have to stock another 10 to show everyone. Yeah. For everyone they sell, they need 10 to show, right? Correct. So for me, it's just, and also from another angle is too many options makes people dizzy. People like it to be simplified. When I sit down with a client, I could ask them 3 questions and extract exactly what kind of style would resonate most with them. Right. And that's a skill I'd say most jewelers don't have.
Right.
I could figure out precisely what a lady would look best at so well that I'd say 90% of my clients are non-indecisive.
Okay.
Thanks to me.
Okay. I want to get a necklace for my color and earrings.
So we have to make something happen.
How where does the prices? Is it like a
price is relative? So no. So it depends. So it depends on what one's after.
Like an average earrings is between 2,000 and 5,000, right? That's what the average in the Hasidische market.
Yeah,
or even up to 10, whatever. But I'm saying.
So
is that your prices?
No, yeah. My prices. I mean, it's very hard for me to do anything under $1,000 in the fine jewelry sector because just the cost of single craftsmanship, if it's not mass produced overseas. The labor itself is enormous. It's handcrafted, right? But other than that, in general, $1,000 upwards, you know? Wow. But it depends on the item. If someone's after a graduated 10-carat diamond tennis necklace, depending on whether they're after natural, high grade, low grade, depending if they're after lab. Most of my clients do lab, straight up, which I'm very pleased about.
Are you a fan of lab?
Absolutely, 100%. For me, although in theory I have no bias because I don't carry inventory, so it's not like, oh, I've got loads of inventory of natural diamonds or I'm in lab.
Are you a fan of fake Rolexes?
I'm a fan of everything. I'm a fan, 100%. Everything.
No, meaning
I'm a fan of everything.
You understand that the value of Rolex is that it's Rolex.
No,
Would you get a Lamborghini that looks like a Lamborghini? It's just not a Lamborghini?
No, wait a minute. I'll make the argument.
I'm trying. Yeah,
I'll make
a
compelling argument in a second.
Okay.
I'll make a compelling argument.
Because I see it.
I'll make a compelling argument.
Like
I'll make it
junk or garbage. Like
what are you talking about specifically?
The lab-grown diamonds.
Right. So it depends.
Like I think it's perfect for when I go on vacation.
No. So I'll educate you enough that your perception may change.
Okay.
Let's start from the beginning. I'm going to ask you a couple of questions and then show you that, without putting it down on your own progress, that your information and understanding of what makes something valuable or rare is primitive in its knowledge, right? So for argument's sake, why has a diamond got value?
Because it comes from the earth. It's natural.
What makes it valuable, though? You know, so in the industrial world,
That it's
100 million carats are mined per
That
year.
it's limited.
Huh?
That it's limited.
So what specifically is limited? Which
Can't
stones are
mass
limited?
produce it.
But is it limited? I mean, you can go to any jeweler in the world and ask them for a 1 carat engagement ring, and they'll never have a problem getting you that stone.
Actually, in Bar Park, nobody has more than like a 125.
Come to me and
So it is pretty rare. Like they don't have it.
Okay, so then I'm going to show you right now on the back end.
Yeah, I know that app. Whatever. I know the back end. I know that there's many diamonds available.
No, I'll just give you an idea. A quick second. It's not loading. Whatever. Bad service. Hold on. Whatever, it's not the point. Millions. But the point is this: is that under 2 carats, you know, these stones aren't rare. They're not hard to find, and the vast majority diamonds in of its own are not rare within the earth by any stretch of the imagination. What is rarer is what's called jewelry grade diamonds. So the vast majority of diamonds are very included. They have black, they have carbon. There's a lot of flaws. So when they mine 100 million carats a year, whatever it might be, of natural diamonds, you know, in theory, it might be 10%. That's good enough for jewelry grade. And then that kind of enters a spectrum of what's rarer and not rarer. But the rarity of a diamond, which actually gives it its value, is nothing to do with nature. Nobody proposes with a rough diamond. A rough diamond is the whiter version of this. You know what a rough diamond looks like?
No.
A rough diamond looks indistinguishable from a pebble of salt. I would make the argument we could literally test this. We put a $100 million diamond, a rough, uncut natural diamond on 5th Avenue, and not a single person other than a gemologist coming from 47th Street will pick it up.
Wow.
They won't even look at it. And that could be worth $100 million. We put a tiny 10-pointer marquise cut diamond along the sidewalk. And I promise you now, within seconds, it will be noticed and picked up. Why? Because human beings do not like the rough diamond, because the rough diamond is not beautiful by any stretch of the human imagination. What they like is how the light refracts, how it scintillates, the fire, the brilliance, the sparkle. And the sparkle and scintillation is all coming from the skill of man. That diamond was hand cut. A diamond does not grow in the shape that we see. It grows as a rough stone, and they cut it out. And it's one of the hardest stones in theory to cut. You need other diamonds to cut diamonds. But once they've extracted this rough stone and spent months figuring out how to best maximize the yield from the rough, that means how to cut it in a way that's going to enable it to scintillate the most brilliance, the most sparkle. That is ultimately what people like, the human craftsmanship element. Wow, that is beautiful. Now,
even though it was lab grown,
natural and lab grown. No, lab grown diamonds is not plastic. So natural diamonds and lab grown diamonds, for context purposes, are chemically, physically, and optically identical to the naked eye, because they're both made of the exact same atomic structure, which is crystallized carbon. They're both graded based on the same metric system called the 4 C's: cut, color, clarity, and carat. They're both certified based on the same prominent institutions as natural diamonds: the GIA, Gemological Institute of America, IGI, International Gemological Institute, and so on and so forth. And they're both equally the hardest stones in the universe. So separate to a diamond being beautiful, it's durable.
There's a reason why it's 1/10 of the price.
The reason why it's the 10th of the price is because manufacturing and innovation has got so much better. But I would make the argument that prior to 2018, lab-grown diamonds were established by Dr. Howard Tracy Hall for General Electric in 1954. And this was originally, achieved. This was originally achieved.
Hier zoekt men red for fire and water. You know what that means?
No.
You're talking for fire and water. You're selling very well lab-grown, but you're not making any natural
I'm going to tell you.
I'm asking you, would you give me your Rolex and I give you a fake one?
If you were to give
would
me...
you? Unless this is fake. I don't think it is. It looks beautiful. Yeah, would you? Just give it to me. It's the same. And you know that the one that from China, the Rolex, is
right.
a lot more handcrafted than Rolex itself.
Because you're defining... No, but you're misunderstanding. It's not...
Yeah.
Alex, first of all, you're assuming I bought it.
Whatever. Why do you wear it?
What I'm saying is this. I'm going to make the compelling argument, okay? What I'm saying is this, is that you're looking through the lens of something fake. And that's the mistake in human understanding.
Okay, it's real, but it's not, right?
No. It's 100. How do they grow a lab-grown diamond? You bought flowers for Shabbos.
You bought flowers.
So wait a minute. Wait a minute. You bought flowers for Shabbos.
Yeah.
You bought flowers for Shabbos.
Yeah.
Are they real or fake?
Real.
No, they're not. They were
Right.
made in a greenhouse. They were not picked in nature, not from New Jersey.
Okay, so
They are real.
right.
Excellent. Now, imagine I told you.
Can I give you
Wait
a-
a minute. Wait, you have to have this. Imagine I told you this flower,
Yeah.
that flower specifically, is a rare blossom that only grows in Madagascar. And if you wanted to extract it from Madagascar, from nature in its natural sense, it
Yeah.
would cost you $50,000. But you know you can go to ShopRite and buy it for $5. Would you buy the one for $50,000? Rarity is the perception that something cannot be reproduced. But diamonds can. They're no longer rare.
I actually
End of
like.
story.
Okay, but I actually like what you just said. That to me the flowers are worth $20, not 50,000. And the same thing I'm going to tell you is with the jewelry.
But prior to
some
greenhouses-
women and men, for them what's important is for them in their mind they're okay with lab grown and they don't care about the nature of the thing.
That most people are after
So,
two things when it comes to jewelry.
Can I give you a Honda Accord with a BMW
Yeah,
symbol
but
on
you,
it?
it's non.
Can I?
Yeah, but it's non-correlated.
Why
because-
don't you
I'll
want
explain
it?
it? I'll explain it. You're comparing an expensive versus a cheap. That's the mistake. The common consumer is not saying, I'm going to go from a $200,000 budget to a $3,000 budget for the same stone. They had the $3,000 budget. They're spending the same amount of money on the loved one. When you propose to your lady, there's a certain amount of money you've allocated as a gesture of a proposal.
But that's a huge claim that I have.
What?
That when I proposed to my lady, I got her a very, very expensive diamond ring.
Perfect. So
And
in
she
this-
appreciated
right,
the
no.
money. It wasn't just about, oh, the diamond, the
Correct.
But she knows how expensive this is.
I'm not diminishing that. What I'm saying is this, is that at the end of the day, obviously, if lab only benefits a specific part of the target market, which would be people, I would say spending under $10,000. The second spending more than that, it ends up looking way, in theory, I don't like the word too good to be true, but it doesn't look good because it's so
Right.
big
I
based on the
agree.
price points. But what I'll tell you is this, is that the common consumer, let's say they're spending $3,000 or $5,000 on a piece of jewelry for their loved one. They have two options on the table. They want to get a turnkey band. For $3,000 in natural diamonds, you're getting nothing nice.
Correct. Getting
Maximum
a very
half,
small,
maximum half in a turnkey band in very small stones that are most probably included and low on the grade system, right, on the metric
Yes,
system.
true.
In lab, you get a full diamond eternity band within that range. Something that in theory could cost $25,000, you can get chemically, physically, optically identical, handcrafted in platinum.
You know, I have a Patek Philippe over here
Right.
that's worth 1.6 million, the real one.
Carry on. Well, the real one's worth 1.6 million,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the fake one. It looks identical the same.
right?
Do you want it?
I'll take it.
Switch it to the Rolex.
I'll switch it for the Rolex. What I'm trying to say is this.
No, but you get my point,
No,
by the way.
you
You're the first one that...
No, because it's not that. Because if you were going with a budget, and your budget was $30,000 to buy a watch, and you got an option between Cartier,
A real Rolex
Patek
or a
Philippe. No,
Patek-
because you're looking from the lens of real and fake. I'm saying the consumer is.
I'd rather get a real Belova than a fake Rolex.
But imagine you couldn't get a Belova for your budget, but you could get a fake Rolex. So
Okay.
you would rather not wear a watch in
Oh,
that circumstance.
okay.
So I would make the compelling argument that if Mercedes-Benz produced a Maybach in China and not, let's say, in Germany, let's pretend for argument's sake they tell you we have a Merc.
Then you would buy it.
We have a Merc that doesn't cost $400,000 based on the cost of materials and labor. We've knocked down that price to $100,000. $300,000, but you could buy the one from Germany for $400.
Then I would get the one from China.
No one,
Fine.
right, perfect. So in the diamond world, God created the idea that when you use HPHD, high pressure, high temperature,
Creates
or CVD,
diamonds. Fine.
that you can crystallize carbon. And when you take pure carbon and crystallize it with immense high pressure, high heat, a diamond
makes
is
a
formed.
diamond. So you're
In
saying it's not fake,
1954,
it's just
they
different.
figured out how the earth forms it. How do phones work? Is a phone fake?
Yeah.
Well, it's not fake. You're talking to someone on the other side of the world. How does it work?
Okay, how?
Is that a fake voice you're hearing through the ear?
Maybe.
But it's not. It's their voice.
You like conspiracies.
It's not conspiracy. Electromagnetic waves is how.
But
phone
I
works.
hear your point. I hear,
At the end of the day,
I
so to
understand.
me, I
You're
would.
saying the recipe is the same. It's just one came from there, one came...
The
It's pretty much the recipe
every
is the same.
single thing is the same. Durability is the same. Aesthetic look is the same. If anything, you can get nicer Type 2A, some of the rarest of the rarest stones in lab. You can get a much more beautiful piece. And for me, my bias would be, as a designer, it's not that... Jewelry as a whole is not an investment. It's not something you put away in a safe to one day sell. If
No,
you want that,
it's
you buy a
not.
bar of gold.
Correct.
Jewelry is a gift you give to a loved one with zero utility for yourself. It's simply, I want to spend money on you. I know this is made of high craftsmanship. It's got intention to its design. It's beautiful. And I hope it looks good on you, right?
Maybe you can give this speech to Mike Haller because, you know,
I could-
it's going to be a lot easier for me. And
I am 1,000,000% convinced that irrespective of your colour's preferences, when she knows what your budget, whatever that budget is, could get options-wise relative to natural in lab,
Okay.
it's like, oh, I can get a 2-carat natural diamond for $20,000, or I can get a tennis necklace, tennis bracelet, earrings, which symbolize something that in theory may have costed $300,000, you know.
All for $2,000.
All for, not 2,000, for the same 20,000, but you know. It's not, the point is the gentlemen that come to me are not spending less because lab exists. The only people that do it are the wealthy.
Let's go through. All right, fine. Guys, anyway, for stuff, for jewelry, reach out to David. Conspiracy theories. Is the moon landing
I
real?
believe the moon landing is the greatest hoax in the history of humankind.
Like, it's not true?
It's not true, but I'll explain it. It's one of the most fascinating conspiracies. And I'll tell you why, and I will make a real compelling argument.
Let's quickly cover a few conspiracies.
Exactly.
Right, we're going to wrap it up in a minute.
Yeah.
But I'll make one of the most compelling. I'll tell you like this. I'll tell you like this. It doesn't matter, you know, a lot of people, older generations, they want to believe we went to the moon. It's a certain American patriotism that America went to the moon and so on and so forth. But since the year 1969, since the year 1969, not a single person has ever left low Earth orbit. Not even anyone from the United States of America. Low Earth orbit is around 250 miles high. We've not gone further than there.
Correct.
Forget the Val Allen Bell, 1,000 miles away.
Oregon, whatever, which guy? Richard Branson that went to space.
No, they're in low Earth orbit. They're not left low Earth orbit. No one's left low Earth orbit, about 250 miles high. So in the last 50 odd years, right? 50 odd years.
250 miles high from the ground here is lower orbit.
The moon is over 230 or 250,000 miles away, depending on the time of the year. And not a single person has left low Earth orbit in 50 odd years. Now, this is why this conspiracy differs from Abraham Lincoln's assassination, JFK, and so on and so forth, for the simple reason, it's very logical. It's on a timestamp. That means to say, if in 100 years from now we still haven't gone back to the moon, or 300 years from now, no one will believe we ever went there.
Yeah.
At that moment in time, it made sense. You know, we barely had, we didn't have smartphones, we barely had colorized television. You could convince people of anything, studios and Hollywood, whatever it is. And a lot of people have one of the best arguments against the moon landing conspiracy, against those who believe the conspiracy, right? Is that how could you convince 400,000 people that work at NASA?
Correct.
And this is a very disingenuous claim because Amazon, 1 million people work at Amazon. Who makes decisions about where Amazon's doing or what they're not doing at the top of the chain? Well, that's the executives. Everyone else is generally doing something. So I believe wholeheartedly 400,000 people worked at NASA building a real rocket.
But only 5 people.
Building a real rocket. But they had to figure out that by the end of the decade, which was JFK's initial speech, if they couldn't achieve the job, or if the whole mission was not to get any object to the moon, the Russians had done that in the 50s with Sputnik. The mission was very, very straightforward, that JFK said he wants to get man to the moon and return him safely back to Earth.
Correct.
That was the challenge. That was the space race. And we will not only get him there, but we'll get him back here. That's the hardest part. Anyone could shoot someone up there in theory, right? You know, try and get them back down. That's the challenge, right? And in this scenario, I would say that if it went wrong, they failed their mission. So why wouldn't they think, well, can we make a plan B? What would have to happen if it went right? How would we prove it went right? We'd have to have video footage of it, right? We'd have to shoot a rocket. So let's build a rocket, shoot it, put them into low Earth orbit, circulate the Earth for 8 days, drop them back down into the Atlantic Ocean, and pull them out, and everyone's good, right? Yeah. And then do some speeches and all that stuff, right? They went to the moon not once. Allegedly, the Apollo missions, they went 6 successful times. Only one time did they have an error. I believe that may have been Apollo 13. I'm not exactly sure.
Where they stayed there for like 50 days.
No, they were whatever, and they didn't land, whatever it was. They didn't go up, but... moral of the story is this, is that they managed to do it. And today, if you do the research, the best argument you'll get for why we haven't gone back there is 2 things. They'll tell you safety concerns, and they'll tell you financially we don't have the kind of capital that we had back when we had the project running in the 60s and 70s.
So you're saying something's a little bit
But from
off.
1963 till 1969, in 7 years, they managed to figure out how to invent the Saturn V rocket that would take man to the moon and return him back to Earth in 7 years. 7 years with information. If you understand the technology feat they did, we think of technology through the lens of today. The entire NASA program had the computing power of 1/1,000,000th to the average modern day calculator. We're talking about 12 megabytes of data was the entire, I might be wrong there. I have to fact check myself. before, I don't like, and you do like Jubilee and they have like,
Yeah.
How many megabytes of data? Let me ask
Yeah, I'm
ChatGPT
recording
actually.
a podcast. It's okay, I'll call you back. Bye.
Are you ready? How many megabytes of data did the entire NASA program for the Apollo missions need in order to conduct its mission?
It's pretty fascinating to think about how little digital storage those early space missions actually.
Carry on. Sorry, it's been interrupted.
No problem at all. So, to put it into perspective, the entire Apollo program ran on what we consider today a truly tiny amount of digital memory. The onboard Apollo guidance computer had roughly around 72 kilobytes of memory total.
Crazy.
And if you think about the entire program's data needs, it was just a handful of megabytes for all the mission critical data. In other words, way less than a single MP3 file today.
Is it correct to assume that they managed to pull off the entire Apollo mission with 1/1,000,000th of the computing power to the modern day calculator?
Yeah, that's actually a pretty fair way to put it. The Apollo missions were run on computing power that's absolutely minuscule compared to even the simplest devices we use now. Modern calculators or even digital watches have more processing power. So when people say they did it with a fraction of the computing power of, say, a basic phone or calculator today, it's definitely not an exaggeration. It's kind of mind-blowing.
Fascinating. Thanks so
Wow.
much. Have a good showers. So what I'm saying is this, is that at the end of the day,
sounds
this is
suspicious.
unbelievable engineering that's being claimed. And the fact that no one else has replicated, not even Elon Musk,
They're
no
trying,
one.
right? They're
They've been
trying.
trying for 25 years to get back there. Everyone says they're not trying. They are trying. You go and ChatGPT and ask. They're trying.
They can take it to
China's
space, but
trying.
not to the moon.
Israel tried. And yeah, it's just, to me, it's an unbelievable thing. But like I said, it's on a timestamp. That means if in 100 years, imagine I told you there's a car in 1920 that appears for a period of 5 years that can go 5,000 miles per hour. And then 5 years later, Ford, who invented this car, lost the technology. They don't have it. And you ask them, what happened? Well, telemetry data and
There's the
recorded,
Concorde.
they went all over. No, but the Concorde, we can go way faster than the Concorde today.
Oh, yeah?
Sure. We didn't forget. People think about the Concorde. Oh, the Concorde, the reason why the Concorde stopped is because it was the safety mechanism and the cost. The amount of gas that it burned was enormous and they couldn't cover the cost. But to say that Concorde technology doesn't exist, of course, we have rockets that travel. We have rockets that travel faster. We understand how component engines, air combustion works, and the whole 9 yards. So
What about 9/11? Do you think that
9/11,
that's like
I never
legit?
looked into it. I don't look into any conspiracy theory that somehow ties back to Jews. I was just like, it's crap. Like I go down the rabbit hole, and like stupid. But for me, the moon landing, the only Jew correlated is Stanley Kubrick, which was the director who made Space Odyssey, a movie called 2001, in which he actually filmed with NASA, right, to do
that
a
a good
space movie.
movie?
Unbelievable. And you look at the special effects back that he had then, it's way better than the footage we have on the moon.
Oh, yeah?
It's fantastic.
I should
No, but there's a million
watch
things. But I just want to go one step further without sounding like a maniac. When it comes to, like, for example, moon rock. Moon rock's a great argument, right? But if you know who ran the expedition, Werner van Braun, the Nazi scientist that the NASA brought from Germany. I'm just going to use ChatGPT to help that my words are not, they're not just my words. These are factual statements. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Let me do this. Let's ask ChatGPT. Okay, I got a question. Werner van Braun, who was he? And when did he lead an expedition to Antarctica? And what was his mission in Antarctica?
So, Werner von Braun is a pretty well-known figure in the history of space exploration. He was a German aerospace engineer and rocket scientist who eventually came to the United States and was a key player in the development of the Saturn V rocket that took Apollo astronauts to the moon. Now, about Antarctica, there's no record of Werner von Braun leading any kind of expedition there. He was more of a rocket and space guy rather than an explorer.
Did he ever go to Antarctica? And if so, what year?
He actually did. So Werner von Braun did visit Antarctica, but it wasn't for some big expedition or a rocket mission. He went there in the mid-1960s, specifically around 1967. It was more of a sort of scientific...
If we were to find moon rocks today that came from out of space or from the moon, so to speak, moon rocks. If we were to find moon rocks
Is
today,
that mic out of it? Okay.
and if we were to find moon rocks today,
I don't see a light.
which place in the world can we find moon rocks?
Yeah, so moon rocks can actually be
Oh, yeah.
found in a couple.
Carry on.
Hey there. So, as I was saying, you can definitely find moon rocks on Earth in a few places.
Oh,
the
wow.
most famous collections are in museums. And
No. I'm talking about separate to that. I'm saying, can one find moon rocks in Antarctica?
Got it. Yes, you absolutely can. So, Antarctica is actually a hotspot for finding meteorites, including some that originated from the moon, because the ice sheets make it really easy to spot these dark rocks. Scientists have indeed found moon meteorites there.
So,
if you were
is
looking
it?
for a place,
I'm just going to ask you a very straightforward question. Werner von Braun, the Nazi scientist that's running the NASA Apollo missions, goes in 1967 to Antarctica. We go to the moon in 1969. Is it possible? I'm not asking you whether it's a conspiracy. Is it possible that he could have found a moon rock and they could have pretended that was from the moon? Is it possible?
well, if we're just talking hypothetically, anything is possible in theory, right? But there's no evidence to suggest that
I'm not
happened.
asking you for evidence. I'm asking you if it's possible that Werner von Braun went down to Antarctica prior to going to the moon and found moon rock. Yes or no is the question.
So if we're talking strictly about whether it's possible in a hypothetical sense, then sure, it's technically possible. But just to be clear,
Excellent. Can you share the story of the museum in the Netherlands that was gifted moon rock and what happened with that story?
absolutely. So there's a pretty famous story about a museum in the Netherlands, specifically the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, that was once gifted a pulse of what was supposedly moon rock. The rock had been given to them by a former prime minister who received it from the US ambassador after the Apollo 11 mission. But here's the twist. Decades later, when the museum had the rock examined, they found out it was actually just a piece of petrified wood. So it turned out not to be a moon rock at all, just a very interesting historical mix-up.
Perfect. So in very simple terms, the argument that the evidence is we have moon rocks can be found in Antarctica because there's ice all over the place. If you see a random rock lying there, you know where the hell did it come from. Additional to that, the museums that have had it, when they've actually tested the stuff 40 years later, they established it was petrified wood. And the argument...
What is the evidence that it
That the moon landing is true? That they have footage?
the moon land, the best... No, but I'm saying...
That they say it is? That
the
four
best-
astronauts came back and told the story?
No, to me, I don't know, there's 1,000 things. Wagging the Moon Doggy is a good place to start if you're interested in reading. It's very fascinating.
Oh, that they debunked the whole story?
They break down different parts. But I'm not getting it. For me, it doesn't... It's an experience I find fascinating. I don't really care. Didn't we? It's not a belief.
Antarctica
Go
is
ahead,
a
go on a
whole
minute.
different... Yeah, Antarctica is a whole different conspiracy, by the way. Of what's going on there, who visited, it's owned by a few countries. It's covered in
I'm sure.
ice.
Yeah, but I'm so that's something. So when it comes to, I'm not actually that involved in conspiracies. I'm not that knowledgeable. If I do dive into something, I dive in it relatively well. So I'd have enough to say on the topic, but I don't pretend to be an expert and I don't pretend to understand everything. I just find it fascinating. So don't feel for when I'm saying you have to believe we didn't go or believe whatever you want. It doesn't bother me, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, teach their own. It's just, I find it interesting, and I find it interesting because we haven't gone back there.
Right.
If we'd gone back there, and we don't have the space technology, from just spacesuits. Israel's making, there's companies and startups in Israel that are making unbelievable technological feats within the spacesuit abilities. But allegedly, although if you Google this, we don't have the technology anymore, we had spacesuits which the astronauts wore that if you're basically standing in direct sunlight on the moon, it's around 250 degrees Fahrenheit, I believe, or Celsius. I'm not sure. My brain's not working right now.
Wow.
It's boiling point. If you're going to shade, the second you're in shade, you're in freezing point by minus 250. So their suits had to adjust the temperature control. It had to have, if they have one slip, because there's no oxygen on the moon, if they fall on those moon rocks as they're doing their big floaty jumps, and one little tear happens in their suit, enough that the oxygen inside gets released, within minutes, they're dead. Suffocation, they're dead. So to me, I find it strange how they drove on rovers miles away and spent, I don't know, it just, the whole thing is very peculiar. But teach their own, everyone believes what they want to believe.
David,
That's
thank
that.
you so much.
Next time we have to do the topic on Yiddish.
I always say if there's enough comments and questions, I'll always be happy to do a part 2 as long as people enjoy this episode. Remember to like the episode, leave a comment, share it with a friend that can enjoy. I appreciate all the super likes, and we have some bonus footage over here as well. So if you subscribe to the membership, you'll see some extra deleted footage from every podcast we put out. If you want to be in touch with me, the information is in the bio, and as well, if you want to get in touch with David to order a piece of jewelry or to follow him on his social platforms, we'll put everything in the link and in the description. Thank you very much, and thank you, David. Appreciate you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure. Wow, you're freezing.